Hello. This topic, experience versus information. Again, I am simply expressing myself. I can't tell from being. I can't tell someone how to go from self to being. I can only honestly speak from my own experience from being and let that stand as the example of itself. Meaning I am not speaking from anyone else, on anyone else, for anyone else, to anyone else. I'm not telling anybody what to think, how to be, anything, nothing at all. I am simply 100% expressing myself, and that's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Not for any reason other than to share a being point of view instead of a self point of view. And forgive me, it has been a week. One problem, then another problem, then another problem, all with more underlying problems that just, home's been chaotic, car issue, it's just been like one, my wife gets a rear tire blowout on the highway. It would have been as simple, as long as the rim wasn't damaged, it would have been a quick stop, jack it up, take it off, run it to the used tire shop that was actually open on a Sunday, get it done, get it back, toss it on, start up, and leave. Would have taken an hour. The four ways were left on for 2 days. The battery was completely dead. That literally took me 6 to 8 hours, 6.5 hours, no, 6 to 7 hours to finally get the car, or no, to even get the car running. From leaving home to go get the car to the car actually starting. That long. Which should have just taken an hour. It's like, that's been the week. Just dealing with one problem, and here's another one along with it that just happened to pop up. Again, all I had to do was replace the tire, but the battery was dead. Oh, thank you, Pennsylvania State Trooper lady that was like 4 foot tall. Oh, that was surprising. She gets out asking for help, and then goes and gets a jump pack for me. And it was just a short little female trooper. It was just not what you expect, which makes it cooler, not worse. Experience versus information. 10 inquiries. Number 1, how do I recognize the difference between experience and information when someone is expressing themselves? Because information is simply information. It's outsourced, or it's a straight line. There's no participation. It's just the sky is blue. It's just bland. It is that it is. It doesn't mean it's bad or just, the sky's blue today. Whereas experience, oh, look how beautifully blue the sky is today. You're expressing the experience of the observation of it, internalizing it, which is a simple way of putting how I have lived my entire life. Experiencing everything within, even information, unless there's no experience in the information. But Experience is participation, and however it is, versus information. Again, the sky is blue. It's just bland. It is that it is. Versus experience, you internalize what you're witnessing. You're seeing the blue sky and you allow it to be what it is, and you allow it to influence you. So not really influence, just to, like for it to, just to observe what it is, and just, allow yourself to be moved by it being what it is. Authentic expression. The sky is beautifully blue today. It looks wonderful, looks peaceful, looks whatever. That's experience. Versus information, I could sit here and scientifically describe it however. It sound like a freaking monotone robot. There's no experience there. It's flat. It's not unvaluable, but it's just less. Whereas experience is, information is like a straight line. If I want to generalize it, it's just me speaking myself here. I'm not telling anybody anything, what to think or anything. And experience, especially from being, is way more. It is explainable, expressible, and then all the way into not being able to express it or explain it, etc. Versus information, it is that it is. There's no more to it, just accumulation. Versus, experience, you can't, that's personal, that's all you, you can't just yank that out, here you go. You can't. And sometimes you can describe it in words, express it in words, sometimes you can't. Two, what feels different to me when someone speaks from experience instead of information? What feels different to me when someone speaks from experience instead of information? Because experience is personal. Experience is yours and yours alone. That I will say outwardly. Why? Because my experiences are entirely 100% my own. Nobody else out there could look within me and see any of it or even experience it as I do. Therefore, unless every single other human being out there is lacking of any depth, which is not the case, then everybody else's experiences are the same way, their own entirely. So, what does that make the sharing of experiences? That makes it personal. That means the person is getting personal with you, and that is authentic harmony and congruence of expression in the moment between two people. Doesn't matter what it is. If they're expressing experience and they're being authentic about it, it's a connection. It's connecting. You're just connecting with the other person. Versus information. I mean, do you really? I mean, did you connect with every single teacher? Anybody else's Did you connect with every single teacher you've ever been taught by everybody's life? No. Because, most, if there's no connection, shared experience, All right, I was outsourcing that too much because I did state I got to get off of that because I did say I was expressing this outward like my experiences are my own, therefore everybody else's are their own as well. But not everybody connects, even when somebody is expressing their experience. I do because I eat that shit up. I value that. I understand and value that authentic honesty, that what I do here, just put myself out there. Like I understand that, I notice it, I appreciate it, even if I don't ever say anything. That's what grabs my attention. Unless, well, that's pretty dynamic. I mean, yeah, I value everybody's authentic expressions from experience in themselves, even if their topic they're expressing on is of no personal interest to me. But the appreciation from my side is always there. Unless it's in distortion. But again, that's why I said authentic. Authentic experience, not performative experience or ego perform or experiences and that bit. 3, can information create understanding, or does understanding require experience? Yes, information can create understanding. Well, what? More backward shit. Again, speaking from my on myself here, like information creates the understanding from the man. That is one pretzel. That is one hell of a pretzel, but but this time in a good thing and more of a it's all working together. Information creates understanding and experience. You get information and understanding from experience. You get information and experience from understanding, and you get understanding and experience from information. See the pretzel? Again, you can understand something without having all of the information on it. But see, it's just that one requires the other requires the other. That's a pretzel that requires all pieces together to function. That's why I'm just like, what? I'm just sitting here digging on this because I'm even if I'm going a little deep, I'm just like I said, I just contemplated on experience this morning unintentionally. So I'm literally fresh digging still. Digging understanding. There's that pretzel again. I'm still digging in information, understanding, and experience. That's a good one. You know what? I really like that. That is one heck of a pretzel. Come on, Ann. Oh, jeez. Just suddenly I'm coughing fit. Oh, I just hope I don't have to bite anymore. Pardon me. You know what? I'm actually just gonna get this cough out. Whew, all right, that was a coughing fit. Yeah, I definitely had to pause for that one. Ooh, gather myself together. Can information create understanding, or does understanding require experience? Okay, now that I got that pretzel out of my head, so to speak. Can information create understanding, or does understanding? Again, by default, I just automatically create the experience with the receivement of information. That is just how I operate. I internalize everything first in understanding, in experience. Like I said, that whole pretzel, it's like so much is going on at once. And it's all interconnected, and one requires the other, and so on. It's just like a pretzel, and it's like, yeah. And you try to explain that, I feel like Tom and Jerry, when Jerry's running around Tom and he ends up in a pretzel, or tied in a knot. Because again, if I'm, if I'm in front of a history teacher talking about the Revolutionary War, I'm internalizing the entire narrative. All information coming through my ears, I am internalizing all of it from many points of view, as if I'm watching a movie, as if I'm in the movie, as if participating, all of that. So it's like I am experiencing, I am understanding while receiving information, and then more information is coming from that. Obviously you're experiencing it internally, and then instead of hearing just general, like again, you hear generalization of a battle, but you internalize it. Suddenly you are taking experiences from elsewhere and adding them into it, like as if you're there participating. What would it be like to get, plucked? Not to get into gruesome language and whatnot to bother the system. I don't want to say anything that gets flagged or all that nonsense. Like, that's stuff like that. Like internalizing and then more information and expansion of understanding. It's just, yeah, let's step on from that. I don't feel like doing this for the whole time. I don't feel like talking like that. Hey, everybody. How's my nose? That'll give me a headache. No, actually, I'll share one little trick with that, how I learned that. It was like a visualization trick book. And one thing I enjoyed it, but I never knew I was crossing my eyes. It had you taking your fingers and like relaxing your eyes and looking in between your fingers, but beyond it, you'll see two of the top of your fingers like this, like that, like literally you'll see a third finger right in the middle with just, the tip on this end, this tip on that end. And apparently that's how you that's a way to cross your eyes. Just a little childhood little addition there. Because I honestly, I started doing that for fun. I thought that was cool, reading it from the book. And then suddenly, I find out I'm crossing my eyes, and then I started crossing my eyes for fun instead of doing it to be entertained by that illusionary finger that's in between there. As self-entertainment as a kid, yeah, that was fun. But then again, back in the 80s, we didn't have all this crap. We had to create our own experience. All right. 4, what information have I repeated in my life without truly understanding it? A self-reflection question. I'm just sitting here internally digging, that's all. Cough so much I give myself a headache. Just morning crap in my throat and whatnot. I didn't cough up, that's all. What information have I repeated in my life without truly understanding it? I'm not getting anything from the way that question is put for some reason. I'm just having a brain fart. I'm just trying to think of something that's not simple. Like I'm actively digging here, just like thinking of not something to say, but some actual information on myself. Again, actual self-reflection. I'm not sitting here thinking, oh, what could I say on camera? Here's what I think of that. Like, yeah, middle finger. I'm not here for. I'm not doing this for performance things. You know what? I got to move on from that one. I could sit here for too much longer. I mean, yeah, I could pause it and sit here with it, but I don't want to do that. I'd rather be just in the moment. And I'm not really in a very self-reflective state right now. I'm more of a digging state right now, not a self-reflective state. Those are two different things. It's like literally like having to get out of one state and step into another and then back into the old one back into the previous one because I'm going from just expressing experience and understanding and whatnot and all that to self-reflection, which is internalizing, which is self-analyzing, and those are two different states. And you know what? I'm moving on from 4 for now. If something comes up, if I answer it later, I'll say so. If not, I'm not going to switch gears and have to work to get back to the state of the other questions come from? Tongue-tied. Or, you know what I mean. I hope. 5. How has direct experience changed information I once believed or repeated? Oh, excuse me. Of course, I guess this is more self-reflective. Great. Randomness, just something out of the corner of my eye. How has direct experience changed information I once believed or repeated? The biggest one with that is honestly thinking everybody else was as internally aware, if not more, than me. All the nonsense going on in the world between anything from one's own family to the community to the, bigger out, keep expanding outward through societal structures, and again, you get your family, you get your family, the town, county, state, country, continent, and just the nonsense going on. It was like I was never asking, or I never had the idea to or even hear of a reason to ask or inquire, like internally dig and contemplate that people aren't internally aware. That they're not that, I'm not saying not every, again, this is only my experience. I'm not stating nobody else is. I'm stating that I thought everybody was internally aware. Not everybody is. That's all. That's what I learned from direct experience. Change information I once believed or repeated. Assuming everybody was operating from their being, or at least aware of it, instead of primarily the self. As in, going through life, and instead of endlessly trying to please the physical body, the self, living to please the being, the influencer of you on the self. And I'm always wondering, how could people do these things? How could they not know? Like, not being aware never occurred to me for 4 decades. That's the information I once believed that got changed from experience. 6, what gets lost when experience is replaced entirely by information? Actually, hold on real quick. Actually, answering 5 there, answered 4 too. 4 was, what information have I repeated in my life without truly understanding it? Well, that was more of a self-reflection, but again, assuming, because again, if even people operating for self entirely, what do? They put on a performance of they know it all, they're infallible. You try to correct anyone, or you even give more information, and you get ego blowback, identity defense, ego defense, and everybody always claiming like as if they know it all and everything else. So it's like, well, you know what? You all seem like you got it more together than my life, so I have not had a very good life. My environments have been, me and my environment, there's been more negativity throughout my whole life than any positivity. So again, and not to mention, again, I've been living from being my entire life. I have not been living from ego and identity and boasting myself, actually quite the opposite. I've been put down and buried my whole life by others because I'm not fighting that same battle. I'm not arguing over egos and identities and nonsense with other people all the time. So when I get that shoved in my face, honestly, it's been like I've been put down all my life. When people shove things in your face like they're better, they know more, and this and that, and it's like that just belittles everybody else. And it's like, so yeah, I never developed into that. In one way, I was never allowed to. I was belittled my whole life over everything. Anytime I ever, even, you know what? But yeah, when you live, you know, again, poverty, my parents were poor, broken home, just to say the least, and it's like, well, even other poor people seemed like they had a more together life than I did, and it's like nothing ever occurred for me to think anything of awareness. The seat's uncomfortable. So it's what I repeated my whole life without understanding it. All right, 6. What gets lost when experience is replaced entirely by information? Experience gets lost. Again, dynamics get lost. Personalization gets lost. Authenticity beyond itself gets lost. Information is like a straight line. It is that it is without disruption. I'm talking about authentic information. No, even lies. No, but that's more dynamic too. What gets lost when experience is replaced entirely by information? Actually, let me pause. Pause myself, not the video. Again, I'm not entirely thinking of my own reference. I have to stop and just focus on myself, not comparing, not, you know. What gets lost when experience is replaced entirely by information? . See, again, earlier with the pretzel, because information, experience, understanding are three things of the same pretzel. So it's like, take out experience from that, and there's no being. If there was no experience of my being, there would be no being, because it'd be like it'd be just a flat line of information. Because I can't do that. That's like, again, that is like me trying to describe being from the point of view of self, as if I could remove my state of being to even speak on it from a point of view as if it's ignorant of their being, as an example. I can't do that. So to express what is lost, to remove experience from my being and only leave information there, I cannot do that, because experience is always there. If I don't experience, then I'm not. I'm not me. I'm not aware. I am not, like, then it would just be a biological robot here. Bathroom break. Uh-oh. Okay. What gets lost when experience is replaced entirely by information? Honest, that just sounds complete emptiness. No, thank you. 7. Why do some expressions feel alive while others feel empty, even when both contain accurate information? Ooh, that's an easy one. Expressions feel alive when they're being presently experienced and expressed. Like, again, somebody starts talking about the loss of something, and then they express the experience of it, and then they start reliving the experience all over again. That is basically all I'm doing here with everything. That's what makes it feel alive. Re-experiencing it, while you could explain the information of the experience and it'll feel empty because there's no real participation. It doesn't really feel empty. It's just information. And again, it's authentic information. If it's authentic information, experience, it's valuable. But again, when you make it present and it's in harmony or congruence with if its influence runs deep, the experience, the expression, the aliveness of it will run that deep and will show. Whereas, if you're talking about the loss of somebody you really didn't like or didn't really do anything that influentially negative towards you, it'll come out like bland. Like, it won't feel alive. It'll just be accurate information. I could see a car going by I don't like, and it could look nice. I could say, "Oh, that looks nice." It doesn't matter if I like it or not. If it's nice and nice, it expresses itself. Hey, what is the relationship between experience and information? Information can lead to experience. Experience can create information. But what is the relationship between it? Again, earlier pretzel. They are foundational structures of each other, of each other's functions. Again, back to the pretzel, where was it? I literally just got a notepad here with the questions, and that's it. Where was the pretzel? Oh, can information create understanding, or does understanding require experience? Information, understanding, and experience. Again, that's a freaking pretzel. What's the relationship? They require each other. Except that question leaves out understanding. Is understanding the relation? Is understanding the middleman, so to speak, between information and experience? You take the experience, you experience it, you understand it, you pull out the information of it, and then reverse it. You have the information, you dig and understand the information, and then you take that into experience. Hold on. Just a quick Band-Aid fix. What is the relationship between experience and information? Understanding is that what is the? I'm thinking of the connection, not relationship. The relationship is already named because its understanding is missing from that question. Experience in ignorance isn't informational. It doesn't give you any information if it's in ignorance. Information in ignorance well, but then again, anything could bring about experience, any information. But then again, no, it can't. If you have no information, how could anything get experienced from it? And if you have information and you don't understand it, how can you experience it? So understanding is the connector between experience and information, back and forth. That's the pretzel I named earlier. And again, this is literally the kind of stuff I do all the time. I just sit here and contemplate stuff like this. This is nothing. I'm not bragging or nothing. I'm not bragging about any of this shit. It's not about that. Not at all. What am I stepping on? Every time I lift my foot, it falls up, and then I move my foot, and it's there again. Let's see, that was, okay. 9. I figured this would be longer. Can someone else's experience become my understanding, or must I experience things for myself? Can someone else's experience become my understanding, or must I experience things for myself? To a point. To a point. Again, that is the point of sharing. Information is the primary thing shared now. From my point of view, it's ridiculous how one-sided it is from my point of view. I'm not judgment, not being negative, I'm just literally just naming an observation, and I find it to be nonsense. Just imbalanced. Too much information of self and no shared experience, not really much shared experience from being, or even shared experience from the self, authentically. You could still you could still primarily be from the self and not serve your ego and identity. And actually, you know what? I don't know. I'm not going to make any of that claim. I'm moving on from that. Could someone else's experience become my understanding, or must I experience it? Again, you can, but not from an immediate first person's point of view. Not exactly the same, but close enough where it's valuable. Let's see an example. It's funny, I think I overdug earlier in contemplation. It was enjoyable. Well, it was just unfolding, you could say. And it was just coming out smoothly. And now it feels like there's a little more effort to express than there was earlier, just sitting here contemplating within. Not to mention, it's just... Hi, Snuggles. There's Snuggles. Snuggles! What's up, King Snuggles? Snuggles. There's my kitty. Yeah, purring already. Not yet. Let's see, 14 years old going on. The cat. Since summer of 2012, I believe. And 14. Yeah, I'm not doing math right now. Can someone else's experience become my understanding? Or, yes, but not again. Nobody could experience your experiences. They can experience their own individual thing based on somebody else's authentic, honest expression of their own experiences. That's just one of them things where it just seems like it's there. It seems like there should be a lot to explain, but it's so simple for me, and it just, you know what? There ain't much more I can explain other than simplify it like that and moving on. And what is the difference between expressing from experience and expressing from information? And this is a technical term that I am not speaking for myself. I am quoting. Information describes existence. Experience participates in existence. Expression communicates experience. So information is simply information on existence. It's information on any form of existence. Imaginary, intangible, real, make-believe, false, real, all information. And then experience is the participation in and with all of that information. Anywhere of any kind. And keeping it honest and accordingly, as in authentic, not taking make-believe and then making it out as if it's real. You could enjoy all the imagination you want, no matter what your age, as long as you leave it in its proper, honest, authentic category of understanding. What's real is real, what's not is not. And now, since she wants to... Hi! Trying to take up some room. Let's see. I just want to see what the Pickles is doing. Wanting attention. She's been trying. I've taken her outside a few times, letting her walk around the grass. She's been trying to get out lately because I've been bringing her out. I don't feel like she jumped off her little log. I don't feel like getting my hands wet. I already took my allergy medicine. Don't start itching. Experience participates in existence. Again, yeah, an expression communicates experience, which is what I'm doing. Accumulated information and experience of existence and the participation expressing it. Expressing from that. Expressing from the being that participated and experienced and witnessed, etc., all of that. That's where I speak from, that's where I'm speaking on, etc., etc. Not over anyone, not on anyone else, just from myself to the thin air out there. Now, So, what is the difference between expressing from experience and expressing from information? Expressing from experience is lived. Expressing from information is just information. If you're endlessly quoting other people, what do you even think?